Hey everyone, I'm here today to show you Archelon Castle. And this is a project I've been working on for a long time, almost 2 years. And it's been a road. So I'll just take you guys through some of the parts of the castle and the giant prehistoric sea turtle that it's riding on the back of, and you guys can check it out. So Archelon actually comes from the name of the species of the largest sea turtle ever to be found in the world. And I like to think that skeleton that was found was like 13 feet tall. That was just a baby. And the real ones were massive. And in my creation, this is the last living one. And it roams the ocean randomly, aimlessly, looking for food. It never dives below the surface. And this community found it and decided to build a community on top of it, build a castle. And there's a lighthouse at the top. Obviously, birds love this place because it's essentially a floating island out in the middle of the ocean. And so we have tons of birds gathering here, making their nests, getting fish. And then obviously you have the baby sea turtles that are hatching here and heading straight for the ocean. And then there's a variety of towers. You can actually see inside there's quite a bit of food that the people are growing inside. There's actually a whole community. There's about 25 people that live on the turtle, and they have to grow their own food. So there's an orange tree, and you can see a banana tree right there. They've actually got pineapples growing there. And they get eggs from the birds, and they obviously get everything they could possibly want from the ocean, shellfish and fish. In fact, over here we have a guy doing some fishing for the community, and making sure that everybody's going to be well fed. But really back here is where we have most of the food production happening. And that is, there's a whole bunch of corn. It's kind of hard to see in there, but I'll try to get in there. Corn, and there's an apple tree. Okay, here's a better view. They've got sunflowers growing. There's a cherry tree. Obviously a huge vegetable garden. All kinds of vegetables. You can see carrots and cabbage there. And it's kind of hard to see in the back, but they actually have a whole farm. A working farm. Cows, milking cows to get milk. They have chickens for eggs. They have coconuts right here. So they actually have a huge amount of food that they can eat, and that just really sustains them. Here are the back fins of the turtle, and those were actually some of the most difficult to design. In fact, I had my brother-in-law help me with the design because it was so complicated to make these fins move in the way that I wanted them to. And I'll share that design online for everybody that's interested. There's actually a huge Technic mechanism in the back, and I had to hide it. You can kind of see it under there a little bit. The fins are very slow moving. The front fins were also extremely difficult to engineer just because of their size, mostly. So I used a ball joint in Technic that's actually not really designed to be used this way, but I tried it, and then shockingly it works. I went through a lot of different design iterations to get the front fins to work because they're so big. Each one has its own motor, so they actually they kind of swim at different rates to make it look more organic. And then the head and the mouth, there's actually a lobster stuck in its teeth, but it's a turtle, so he doesn't have any arms or fingers, so he can't get it out. So he's just stuck with it. But sea turtle teeth actually do look like that. And I was shocked when I when I saw some pictures on the internet. So I put all these teeth in there because that's really what real sea turtles' mouths look like. A little scary, actually. But this is a very peaceful sea turtle. He just eats kelp and fish and whatever kind of swims into his mouth. The eyes, I think, were probably the trickiest part. I knew almost from the beginning how I wanted to do the nose and the beak and the mouth, but the eyes were so difficult. I went through lots of different sort of trial and error pieces and iterations with the eyes to get the eyes just right. And the whole turtle moving was extremely difficult as well because it's so heavy. The whole turtle itself is about 60 pounds. And the fact that it moves around on the base, it's mind storms. It's programmed to move back and forth, again, to kind of make it have this organic movement as if it's swimming around in the ocean. And the programming was fairly straightforward, but the turntable mechanism was very, very difficult. I built 3 or 4 different turntables before I finally could find a design that could handle the weight. I ended up with the Hailfire droid gears sandwiched together and using the soccer balls as ball bearings. The castle structure is made up of various towers, and I really wanted no towers that were just square, set on a base that was square with the bricks from the turtle. So every castle tower is turned, or it's on a swivel and then locked in place. Everything's at an angle, and every tower is different, kind of has its own personality. I took a lot of inspiration from a ton of castles that I looked at online, just Google image search. I love the medieval blacksmith set so much that I actually had to steal their roof design and the design of the forge, which you can see it's actually lit back there, which I just absolutely love the way they did it in the set, and I couldn't think of a better way to do it, so I just copied it. And it actually helped me get started on this whole section of the castle back here in the corner. There's a neat scene over here where these guys are shipwrecked, and now and then all of a sudden there's a water bursting through their boat, and they're in dire need of rescue, and so they've tossed a line out to these guys that live on the turtle, and here's the guys coming down to try and haul them in and rescue them, and they move back and forth on the fin. This guy with the bucket is especially freaked out because all of his efforts to bail out their little boat are now being destroyed by this geyser coming through the boat. But they will land safely on the turtle and join the community. And then below the turtle, down in the ocean part, there's actually a whole world down here that wraps all the way around. And there's a sea monster. There's lots of different types of fish. There's a few mermaids. Of course, the sea monster has taken down this ship a long time ago, and it wouldn't be a Lego underwater scene without some buried treasure. There's a poor soul that didn't make it. Lots of kelp and seaweed. Here's a circle of life with various sized sharks. Yes, that is a Lego shark. It's actually from the Duplo set from, I think, 2016. And then over on this side, the underwater scene continues. More sharks, lots of crabs. There's actually a cave back here with a killer octopus. And those are LED Lego lights. 100% of this model is Lego. And then back here, we actually have the door to Atlantis. There are a couple stickers in the build, but only a few. I wanted to incorporate a few pieces of light and movement in the underwater scene, and the only movement that I could find that made sense was this little clam opening and closing with the gem jewel in it. And I had to get kind of creative for how I was going to make that work, kind of hide it behind the seaweed there. But I really love how it turned out, and it's the only piece that moves in the underwater scene. And then I kind of got lucky with the stickers of fish in the back. I actually didn't plan that. I was just using those big pieces to kind of build out the main part of the underwater scene, and then they just happened to land there. You get bonus points if you can guess which set that's from. The stained glass is lit from behind using Lego LEDs. I'm especially proud of this piece right here. And I found it by accident on BrickLink. It actually comes from a set that was released in 2020, a Super Mario Brothers set. It's a turtle shell, but it just happened to be in dark blue and white. And so I used it for the top of that little tower in the front. The whole turtle turning and moving actually spins 360 degrees all the way out and does a full circle and comes back around and moves back and forth. So there's also moments where the turtle will just pause and wait before it moves again. But it actually will go all the way around. It moves quite slowly, and that's because it's a very, very big, very, very old turtle. And it's swimming in the ocean, and also because I wanted people to be able to look at the castle and see the details without having it turn too quickly. Yeah, guys, so that's Archelon Castle. It took me 1 year and 8 months. Super proud of it. It was super hard to build, very technical. It just took forever. It was so big, so massive, but it was also really fun. I've never built something this big that moved before. I've never used mindstorms in one of my builds before. I've never built a large animal before, so all that was really fun, and I really enjoyed it. Never built an underwater scene, big underwater scene before, so that was really fun. And I got to build my favorite theme of all, which is castle. So thanks guys for watching.